I think it's even more important. I think the Braum will also become even more pivotal because one of the main AD carry champions that I see up right now that I know Caliste would love in situations like this would be the Misfortune. We often see him bring it out in the later games. You often want that. We're not the engaged champions, right? And even if Leona goes out and you ban Braum, I mean, maybe a Mumu. I'm not saying we're going to be picking it, but it's like, it's one of those where you just want the combo.
Look at Jojo, look at him. He's taking a deep breath. He's locked in. You know, he remembers everything that went down last time. The infinite praise. This is for a trip to his home, quite literally to Canada.
Finally,
he might want it, yeah, because we need money for tickets.
There's the Braum ban.
Yeah.
The only time near airport is a good thing.
Near airport is a great thing. It's actually not far from the studio.
Yeah, so actually we see the Braum ban coming up as we highlighted. This is, I think, angling for a Leona first pick. So I really wonder here as MKOI, do you actually ban it, or do you have another option into the Leona?
But Leona first pick is
crazy.
It's crazy, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, we all talked about the bot lane matchup, or the support matchup. Both Taka and Alvaro, it's their bread and butter. You still have to go for the Jace. The question is, are you then...
We're not
It's a Leona. It's a Leona. It's coming.
They're doing 2 support bans to try to set up for this Leona.
But you have to.
Yeah.
You have to, no?
But I think here is ban it, no? As MKOI, because they already used 2 bans.
You get more Canna champions then. Like, the thing is, you still have the Nana, there's still the Jace, and there's Ambessa, right? What is your priorities here? What junglers? Yike still has Maokai, Ivern, right? There's still power picks available. So it is the Maokai. You have to pick.
I mean, I think you go Leona here, you look for Ivern 2-3 for KC, try to make it simple.
Oh, you guys are great.
We call it, and it just shows the beauty of Fearless that some champions that normally would not be high prio just become so crucial to draft when a lot of other champions
but
are out.
what do you go here? Because as well, like, you know they want MF on Casey. Like, at least I feel like Caliste would love that, having the Leona already.
Combo.
Is that ever a takeaway pick? I'm really not sure if you're just immediately going for that.
I mean, for me, it's like MF Ezreal are the 2 ADCs that are up that I'm thinking are high value. But I'm trying to think about, like, what support? This is a rough situation. You usually don't run into a situation like this.
Me, I've seen Alvaro play Karma before. They have gone for like the Ezreal Karma, the Sivir Karma. I also would be down for like a Sivir Enchanter lane.
Sivir Lulu, yeah.
Sivir Lulu could do pretty good. Sure, it's short range. Sure, you don't really have that go button, but it's gonna be the Ezreal in the end.
Predictions here, maybe it is.
Yeah, I think Ezreal Karma here would make a lot of sense.
I feel like you have to. You don't have that many good options now with the Leona being banned with the Braum and not already.
But probably it'll be MF for KC. Just MF really good into Ezreal once she gets that Bloodthirster and lifesteal up all that poke.
Yeah, you can contest the mid waves as well there. I feel like as well
MF
that...
Lillia makes a lot of sense as well.
Yep.
I will highlight that.
Oh,
Corki
instead.
It's gonna be a Corki, which is a bit... We have seen it in LEC too. Not that good success. You saw it on the screen. 12 to 19 losses. 21, I didn't really remember.
Yeah.
It is not really winning a lot here in Europe.
And the thing is, Offset win on it recently, but that was like the only game they won, and then lost
Feel free to explain to me, Jack, if I'm wrong, but to me, Corki is like an early game kind of lane AD carry that doesn't really scale that well into team fights, but has a lot of early pressure. Together with Leona, maybe you can have to make magic happen.
It's pretty similar to Ezreal. I think in this case, though, they're probably just going to send it mid, because the idea is like Yone is out, which is the go-to standard blind pick mid. That's AD, so they just go Corki now to have that damage profile set, and then for bot lane, they'll just kind of pick whatever they get depending on MKOI's bans. But it looks like MKOI are actually targeting top lane instead here. Yeah,
I mean, banning Renekton and maybe even the Gnar, I think is a good call, considering you're against Canna. I think give him the respect he deserves and take out those champions that he has shown so much comfort on. Then if Renekton Gnar is out, you have like 2 different options you can kind of go. You can either go into a champion like Aatrox, that while it's okay into the Ambessa, doesn't really have a lot of agency due to all the dashes that Ambessa has, or you go for something more standard like a tank kind of champion.
Either way, like Jax, or do you not like that here because of the Poppy and the Ezreal?
Okay, but in the end, you're kind of just scaling parallel to the Ambessa, which I think favors her.
That's the MF.
Instead of Gnar, I wonder if that's a mistake.
So the Gnar is up. I also see an angle for a potential Yorick. It's not really been popular in LEC, but in LPL, it has a very high presence, and it does good into the Ambessa.
Good shout.
I don't know what ADC Caliste wants to go for here. It needs to be something with a little bit of early game agency. Like also, ideally would have some sort of follow-up. Like you could go something like an Ashe. I think like you do have the Leona engaged, but you still kind of lacking
the cleanse and Merc value if you go Ashe here. You're into Lillia as well, like that's You
could go Zeri as well. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Poppy going bot is a good shout into
about this Poppy, you know?
Yeah, it's a good flex into bot lane as well, into the Leona. You kind of just stop the engages every single time, and it allows you to trade space with the Ezreal, so I don't hate it at all.
But you don't love Ivern into AP junglers because you get really far outpaced after the first clear. So usually you pick AP junglers into the Ivern because you just eventually build up a big tempo lead, and you can just generate the big individual lead on the Ivern. But of course, the Ivern later on.
There's so many junglers out as well. I think Elyoya is also just digging for comfort right now, and this is one of the comfort champions he's used in the past.
Yeah, it's like crucially, it's just like a different kind of play style. The Ivern plays for the lanes, while the Lillia more the lanes play for the Lillia. It's just kind of a different dynamic there.
And if they get to a point where Ezreal can just free hit everyone and they have a Ivern in front of them and a Daisy.
Yeah, either the Lillia gets ahead enough and just takes over. As we see the Sivir lock in, it makes sense. There aren't that many champions left.
Do we have enough engage here? Yeah, that's the question. Do we have enough front line here for KC? And that's why they're looking for the sign.
Already, I'm happy.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Aurelion Sol here. Like, a lot of late game scaling, tank killing, going up against the Corki.
Oh, not a dragon. The wrong dragon.
You know, I was wrong. It was big dragon to small dragon.
Yeah. Well, forgot about Smolder.
I really like both drafts, to be honest. I'm very happy with both teams, what they got cooking up here. I think you got a good front line on both sides. You have really good scaling. I think this is going to be a slow game, going to 30, 40 minutes.
Who's going to win?
I hope KC wins. And I think KC will win.
I would always actually like to see KC win just to get a 5-game series.
That's true, that's true.
I want to highlight, I really like how MKOI kind of forced Canna into a tank. I think that was beautifully drafted.
I don't want any of that. My prediction was 3-1. This one goes home now. I'm happy. So, yeah.
All right, let's see. I'm definitely in the 5-game camp, as I always am, but we've got a Smolder. I thought we got rid of that.
He got buffed.
The buff dragon.
Shocks, yeah, it's making its way back, like all scaling mids do.
Thank you.
Apparently, as we've already seen in this series. But a game 4 and a match point. Gents, it's a pleasure to have you by my side as we find out if KC have it in them to take us to another game 5 in this series, as we've had before. Our new rivalry, it's so good to have in the LEC that KOI and KC can deliver us that G2 Fnatic-esque that we've had in the past. It doesn't really exist anymore.
I mean, there was a period where it was Mad versus Rogue. They were the top dogs in the league. And then it was the era where Mads just kept running into Rogue in the finals, and Mad just seemed to have the upper hand. It was kind of the era of Elyoya back in, I want to say 2020 and 2021. But of course, yeah, they kind of got pushed to the waysides, and it's really only been this year that we've seen the resurgence of these teams. Jojo coming in winter, so many question marks. It felt like after winter, he was kind of middle of the pack mid laners. People didn't really see the value. But my goodness, has this man leveled up in spring? A contentious All-Pro vote where he found himself in second after the regular season. And I feel like that he's continued to deliver here in this series and throughout playoffs. And for Vladi, I will say he's had a bit of a quiet series. A player that many touted as the best performing mid laner throughout the regular season, throughout winter. We need to see more from him here in Game 4 to bring us to a Game 5.
But to be fair, this has been a bit of a one-sided rivalry for a fairly long time, right? In MEA Masters, it was KC that ended up winning that finals in 2022, and Caliste beating Supa in a Game 5 to take his first title. Then they come into the LEC, MKOI strike first, but then KC kind of owned the matchup, even coming through. It was the lower bracket in winter, round 2, where KC knocked MKOI down into that lower bracket. You look at summer 2024 playoffs, KC knocked MKOI out of that, but it's now in 2025, this spring, that MKOI have just come alive, and they have looked like the better team today. They have been very coordinated on plays. They've been able to set themselves up well. They've been getting onto the map into the right places at the right time, and they've really caused issues for KC.
Well, let's see how things pan out in this early game. The analyst has talked about how they expected a slower early game, and I'm very much aligned on that way of thinking. But then, in the Kassadin game, we saw 3 kills go over in the first 10 minutes. So who knows what to expect from these teams.
I was going to say, it's rare I see a slow MKOI game, just in general.
That's very true.
That's right. They are a bloody team, and while Elyoya looks for the invade, remember, still level 1 because no camp started just yet. A smite in
That's
tow.
A yoink.
It's a yoink with a smite, as I'm talking about it. So level 2 gained, red buff for the healing and in jungle. Elyoya will just tra-la-la to the other side of the map and take away the rest of his blue side.
Question mark pings onto the Raptors. I think Yike expects Elyoya to be back on the top side of the map, so he's just letting his team know. Priorities are, of course, very important in the early game, and for now, as Yike continues his full coat, it's Jojo that gets the push in mid lane on the top side of the map. Canna with the push for now. And on the bot side of the map, it actually looks pretty even between both the Sivir and the Ezreal.
Yike just spots it out now. And the fact that Vladi's low here, as you're saying, I mean, Jojo having a good time, and Just getting some good grass stacks as well. Gatling gun out of the way. Vladi, one of his biggest trading tools with the autos. And while we're having a look at Yike, I just want to kind of bring up a story that we haven't talked about yet, considering the fact that Yike hasn't been in. Ignore that. Supa has flashed. He's disappeared, rather. That was actually Targamas looking for the engage, and Supa just hangs it back.
Wait.
Mum, magic. Don't worry, I pressed it again, Dagda. Have a look. Oh, and I broke the screen.
Yeah, I do think though, like, it has been interesting for Yike because he's only missed one final since he entered into the LEC. And then also the current record holder for longest streak in title wins in the LEC, sitting at 7. But it hasn't been the best of times in this series. It definitely feels like Elyoya has been able to keep him in check. And now you're going to make things a little bit sad if Yike isn't able to defend his time in, defend his title against the G2. But for MKOI, I think they're going to be more than happy to send him packing.
I'll disengage. Now I'm going to tell you manually because I wish I could talk a little bit more about Yike. I wish you could all see what I'm seeing. But again, it's these finishes in winter, in summer, in season finals. When he gets into those finals, he completes the road. He takes it all the way through, and Yike has been this prodigy that we've obviously talked about on G2, that KC from closer to now have just got the extra experience that comes with being in a top team. Yike has to carry them through, and on Lillia, one of his best champions, this is how you get them to game 5.
We'll see if he's capable of doing it. Both compositions, very front to back. I will say I think the engage is a little bit easier to pull off on the side of KC compared to KOI, who, well, largely I would say because of the Poppy, they have great disengage tools, and maybe that could be used in an engage in and of itself. But double AD carry comps, I mean, we talked about it. It's just a lot of scaling, a lot of farming, basically them waiting to get those crucial AD carry item breakpoints.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you, Vedi. One of the things that you can see oftentimes with a Smolder is that if you're able to, get to your stacks, use the range of just being able to poke with the sneeze or the chew, whatever it's called, the W, and make sure that it's all fine.
The phlegm.
Yeah, but oh, hang on.
Targamas flash. Oh! Sidestep unreal and slowed down by Alvaro. Jojo just styled on him.
Really well played by Jojo to try and step away from that and just nullify everything that KC wanted to do. It feels like the new plan here for KC is try to shut down Jojo so we can't get that scaling going, but they can't make the play happen.
Phosphorus Bomb kited back as well. That's 3 skill shots, make it 4 with the ulti from Vladi that's now dodge. Alvaro helps with the push, resets, and Jojo now level 6 as well.
Yeah, Yike trying to get in and see if he can go for an invade of some description, but the camp is already marked by Elyoya, and Yike doesn't feel comfortable enough to try and take it, so looks like KC going to back away. And this whole time, Supa's just fine. He's been farming up relatively easy on that bottom side.
He's looking to pinch. Caliste will just cut it back as well. Targamas moves with him. It's because Dragon now sits there wondering, and Caliste also doing some fancy maneuvers as well.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the engage from KC is just super nice because it denies Jojo the opportunity to try and look for that poke or try and play at range when he gets to that super late portion of the game. Because it's not only the fact you've got Sion and Targamas engage, it's also just a speed up for Caliste to try and help close that gap. So I think you got a nice setup here as you continue on in this game to try to just close that gap onto MKOI.
I will say, seeing Canna on the tank, we'll see how well he can pilot the champion. Typically, when we think of KC, they have, of course, won on the Sion before, but usually we think of Canna as that carry player. We've seen how incredible he's been in this series, and in Game 3, Myrwn finally got some revenge for himself, as the Varus top answer was good, but kind of back to Canna winning ways in a sense, as he finds himself with a small lead on the top side of the map.
But it is strange, isn't it? When you see Canna on a tank, you're like, he's so lane dominant, and we've seen this before. We saw this recently in the last series they faced off as well. As Jojo falls on that. Trigger seed just out of range. Root caller was what I'm talking about. That trigger seed now giving shielding to Jojo as he gets the push. But yeah, Canna on tank's not what I think.
Well, yeah, he actually did a little nice move there. So he hid in the river, waited for Myrwn to reset, and then stepped back out to clear that wave in topside. And basically, MKOI thought they were going for the Sion swap that we've seen a bunch of other teams do. So Myrwn reset, TP to bot wave, and actually meant the Supa lost an entire wave on that topside. So, already now as well, because Caliste and Targamas was shoved in bot, they're actually going to match Supa as he just goes to push in this wave. So, already kind of a bit of mind games coming up from Canna, but yeah, I'm waiting to see how he wants to try and play these fights and how well he can orchestrate himself, because he will be obviously stepping in front of the front line. But Finn, I think, said it the other day, was like, you got to learn how to press S. Sometimes when you're on these tanks, just hold the space. And that is something that we'll definitely be trying to see if he can do well for the squad.
Alvaro's definitely holding space now. It's because Grubs are spawned and Poppy's zone control is unreal. Daisy also presents herself in the rift, and Grub started off, but Elyoya trying to play it really slow here, looking for a potential turn.
Use the first stack of his smites.
Jojo waiting around the corner, but Yike gets a two-man. That's drowsy into a sleep, lilting lullaby, and it's going to find Alvaro as he flashes away. Already damage has been done, and Vladi with the follow for Caliste gets first blood. Jojo now has to flap away, but Vladi will be unrelenting with his follow-up as well. Over the wall, he'll match it, but against Red Buff, he might have gone too far. Ivern helps make it a trade, but Yike is doing Grubs in the meantime, and even though kills are traded, those Grubs are gone mainly to KOI or KC.
It's KC that get the initial kills in this skirmish. The way they respond to the Grubs being started was very well done. They target out Alvaro, and you mentioned it in the play-by-play. Look at this two-person sleep coming out from Yike.
Up to it.
Makes it really easy for Targamas to then set up the chain CC onto Alvaro. He flashes away, but then Caliste with the ultimate. I mean, he's the one in control of the bush this time round, and then the chase comes through from KC.
And it's that chase down that is just so good with the Sivir. Being able to get that move speed means you're able to carry forward. Bloody little too far, as Red Buff kind of helping out Jojo there a little bit, but still, this is kind of what you need to do as KC, is find those early engages, get the pick, and just run down MKOI when you get the chance, and they're already off to a decent start.
Good thing about having Sivir with an early lead is Caliste has now picked up 2 kills. As early essence for even means early wave clear, means mid push is always there, right? When you saw Sivir in the old days, everyone talked about the 500, 600 CS win condition. Remember when it was Reckless, when it was on Fnatic?
When it was Jin Air.
When it was Jin Air, it was definitely, I think we're 900 CS by that point, but the Sivir win condition is still real. It's still about those 6 items, and it's still about how much pressure you can add in this Caliste, already showing how quickly he clears the wave versus an Ezreal that has single target damage.
Well, it's important to remember a lot of Sivir's value comes from the bouncing blades, her W.
That's right.
And so if the enemy team isn't stacking up a lot, she obviously doesn't get as much value, and the trade-off of her being able to potentially hit the whole enemy team is that she does have quite short range herself, which is where the things like Ivern, I think, become monstrous in the late game. The protection that this champion provides for AD carries, with a Smolder as well, is one of the big late game avenues that KOI will always have as a potential win condition.
Yeah, I do like that Caliste has the spell shield for Myrwn though, because I feel like that's kind of one of the engage tools that MKOI will be trying to utilize. And if you ever end up with that public execution going towards Sivir, you can spell shield, it'd be perfectly fine. So I think that's where you'd be looking more towards people like Vladi to try and make sure that he's going to stay safe. But at least he has Valkyrie and Flash in a lot of these occasions, so could keep him safe too. But yeah, both teams scale so well.
Yeah.
It really does feel like it's just going to be a case of who gets control in the early stages and hits those 2.5 to 3 items fastest.
It really is just a race for the atomization, and that's why getting these early kills on the Sivir is so valuable. And they've naturally moved Caliste here just because her wave clear is so good, so Supa's likely going to be forced to play defensively, as the same can be said for Canna. Now starting to lose out on these early trades, given that Myrwn has a few more points in those skills. Means that the cooldowns are a lot more manageable, and Myrwn is a lot scarier to skirmish against now.
Myrwn's, I mean, you could say warmed up in the series. Obviously, the matchup in Game 2 as Nico was a little bit rough. But even Game 1, it was all about Canna, and it's quietly shifting. And coming into today, like, if you don't know behind the scenes of casters and analysts, we obviously talk about big storylines. There were so many to choose from in this series because of Caliste and Supa. You know, Dagda, I know you talk a lot about EU Masters and the regional leagues and what it meant for Caliste and Supa, as they were the primary carries in ERLs. They were the best carries in EMEA Masters as well. You look at Vladi and Jojo's road to get here too. But I always looked at top and how important it was to see this matchup with Canna, who came from T1, who was a middling LCK top laner, who is now leading the league. Now, what can be done up here? Let's look at the play. Targamas has set this up, and Alvaro's caught out. Ulti gets only one, but not yet. He stands, he delivers, and he gets KC an early gold lead.
Nice pick from KC. This jungle support starting to work together to find these little moments to pick off Alvaro. This is exactly what KC need. We talk about the value in kills and gold. Well, that's a great start right there.
It might be a slow early game, but that doesn't mean that action doesn't happen. Players still have to respect the possibility of these picks coming through, and Targamas just roaming with Yike, allowing the Sivir to free farm in the mid lane is very easy when it comes to setting up these picks. He connected the Q, followed up with the ulti, and Alvaro, I mean, the chain CC, he had nowhere to go.
On this Poppy, it's not the same, right? I mean, Poppy, we talk about a lot of disengage, we talk about a lot of setup needed. Not the same as those engage tools we've seen. Alvaro in this series for KOI has been, I'm sure, a lot of people's MVP watching the Nautilus game, watching even the Rel and their loss. What's the other champion I'm missing, Dagda? What did we see before the Rakan? Alistar, excuse me. And it has been incredible to watch, but here in this Poppy, not having the same early game effect that he's had in previous games.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Again, it's kind of more of that disengage tool, but KC just have so many ways to try and start off fights that don't even require a dash that it does get a little tough for you as Targamas now. Just starting to set up that vision, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult for Jojopyun to try and play up on this top wave. And that's all that this vision really needs to set up, is the ability for Vladi to farm safely and try and deny Jojo access to that farm.
1.1k gold lead is the advantage KC has been able to build so far. 14 minutes in, the plates have fallen off. Next objective is spawning soon. Herald in about 50 seconds time. It's a tense affair. Both teams know what's on the line. KOI with their sights set on returning to a finals. KC do not want their spring to end just yet. The winner of this series will be Europe's representative at MSI alongside G2. So much here for both these teams.
Also, just in their next series against G2, when you look towards KC, hey, look, they beat them in winter to actually take the title. But when you look across at MKOI, the organization has made it to 4 finals ever. Twice they won when it wasn't against G2. Twice they lost against G2. And now a potential to go forward and try and play against G2 once more. To have that revenge, what was for winter last year, will be absolutely incredible for so many of the players here. Because it was G2 that denied people like Alvaro, Supa, Myrwn, that golden road. The golden road. What's the word I'm looking for? Not golden road. It's
I like
the
gold,
Royal Roaders is the word I was looking for winning your first split as you enter into a region.
Which is rarity, right? And again, both teams have been underestimated. In 2024, bad year for KC, let's be real. 2025 has been brilliant. In winter, as we said, they smashed G2 in the final and went to the first ever first stand. Obviously, KOI, as we're looking at Herald being done here and Yike actually pulling away because KOI are looking to contest. As a reset comes through for Yike, KOI is just that team that just never say die. They're always there. How do they keep making internationals? How do they keep making fights? As Herald round 2 resets again for Yike.
But Canna's just TP to bot lane. Myrwn looking for the reset and a potential TP in. So MKOI going to group shove mid, and I think they're going to TP in with Myrwn. Although Jojo also looking for the reset.
Okay, so this time as the DP's guaranteed, it will actually be taken. Scuttle on the way to Dragon, and stopping Dragon's not going to be good, but Canna's just right there. He ulties as Elyoya is sniffing flowers. Redemption heals him up, buying time with the trigger seed. It's great, but look, Myrwn's caught out, has to flash through mid, and Canna's a tank. He's bought so much time. KC, this fight looks unbelievably good. Mum called in, but she's in another room. They don't care. The brawl between kids keeps on happening as KC just regain control. Not only Herald, but Dragon. Double objective is big.
The helicopter and the parents doesn't show up in that one, and it means that KC are able to get in towards the Dragon. They get the Rift out, immediately goes down in mid, won't be able to finish off the tower, but will get a good chunk. And Canna, that was so much damage onto Elyoya.
Just a very nice sequence from KC overall. I really had raised eyebrows when I saw Canna engaging onto Elyoya alone. Because I was like, there is no support. Canna is engaging by himself against 3 members, but as you guys identified, he's a tanky man, and he knows what he's doing. He does great damage onto Elyoya, and he buys time for his team to not only secure the Herald, but rotate down as well. KC with a clean sequence will likely now set their sights on one of these outer towers. The mid lane suffering significant damage means the KC may set their sights on that one first.
I think it's just a good call from Canna. At this stage, it's all AD across the board, but
he has no ulti though. Canna, oh, he's 5 seconds off. Look, count it down. 3, 2, 1. Ulti's in, and Myrwn, he's going to be put to sleep. Bedtime coming a little bit early here, and Myrwn already knows he's going to stand in place, and Decimating Smash makes it easy. Great timer from Yike, and this is why his Lillia is so feared.
Getting the kill is huge, but you look at that top side, still the counter punch from MKOI, trying to push in. I think they were just looking for Jojo to see if he can get the tower, but it's very low, but not quite low enough to finish that one off.
KC securing themselves another pick. No cross map available for MKOI, just as Dagda was highlighting. And this mid tower, I don't think it's long for this world.
No. It's constant clear.
Easy secure. And KC just taking firm grasp of this game. We're 18 minutes in. It's a nearly 3k gold lead. It's likely going to be that once Canna secures this objective, and they didn't have to do anything complicated. That last ADC tower in the top lane will be the next point of focus for KC. And they are very much looking to bring us to game 5.
I feel like, again, it might not be punchy, it might not be as explosive, but KC, it is clinical. With a 3.5k gold lead, with a Sion who is in a great position. And once again, by the way, Canna, 1,300 gold lead individually versus this Ambessa. He's back in charge, and not only that, every lane right now is green. Supa's early, or rather Caliste early kills, excuse me, is being met with constant pressure through mid, as we talked about. Mid turret open, second item or almost there. This is as clean as you want. If you're a KC fan, you're looking at this being like, this is them restocking and getting ready for a final game so that they can crush and return to an international back-to-back.
And a lot of it is coming off of, as you say, Yike moving around, but also Targamas working with them. There's so much vision control that KC have been able to settle in this top side. This is just them refreshing those wards, but this has been a constant movement from KC to allow Vladi to play up and aggressive, to keep Jojo in check in the 1v1. And a lot of this is just coming off the fact Caliste so easily wave clears with those 2 early kills and the Essence Reaver to keep them topped up on the mana. So for KC now, push mid, rotate top, see if you can deny Jojo more farm, but maybe just the buffs instead. I
really like the way KC is playing this, just because of how they utilize their prio in mids to immediately convert it into topside pressure. And even if they don't immediately get that top tower, they're going to keep repeating this process, keep setting their sights on that top lane, and slowly chipping away at that objective. You can already see Vladi going back up towards top lane. Caliste looks like reset time, sitting on a decent amount of gold with a 1.2k gold lead over Supa.
And let me pose this to you. Elyoya's jungle is getting run rampant. 40 CS lead from Yike. And if Ivern doesn't get the farm, he might have a cheap build, but if he gets no gold, that Smolder pick from Jojo doesn't get the protection it needs. You can say the same about Supa as well. Even Myrwn engaging in. And slower the better, and for Yike, he's just going to run rampant and one-shot if he gets access.
Yeah, but you can see there, right? Caliste just deletes the wave, so I don't know how you try and prevent this, because you're just not really strong enough. Like, if Yike and Targamas walk in, they just beat the tree in the Yordle. You just don't win, so...
It's the bad side of Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's not been a good time for MKOI in this game, but they need to find some way to try and break it, and that seems to be by bringing Myrwn here to try and deny them access. But with 45 seconds until Dragon, you've only kicked KC out of the top side for them now to reset and move into your bot side instead.
I will say we're again seeing this tendency of KOI to just kind of overgroup when you enter the mid game. Like, they've got both their AD carries just sitting in mid lane. Of course, Jojo with no TP, but now they've sent Myrwn top with the TP, and that bot wave, look, it's just being abandoned. There's no one catching that farm right now, and this is how KC is building ever so slightly with their advantages, the farm, the gold, and the experience. Arakan going to be started off by KOI, a dangerous objective. We'll see how KC responds.
Feels like a flash in the pan. They really want to throw something in.
They're trying desperately. KC to moving forward. Canna going to be that front line.
But that dude is tanky as hell. He fears not walking in. Great poppy ult though. A disengage as the Arakan comes close, but 6k, it's not going down quick enough. And KC are moving into position. KOI are getting threatened out. Daisy playing zone control. That's nice for now, but at 3k, maybe a flip, maybe something for Elyoya. Patience wearing thin. 2.5. Solar flare engage. Canna sets that up. Elyoya puts him to sleep.
Crumbling around them. Incredible fight from KC.
I mean, Yike, he gives them a sweet dream, but then KOI wake up to a horrible nightmare. The engage comes through from Targamas, the follow-up from Canna, the flash start, well, the flash sleep onto 3 was just what they needed to clean up the fight. Beautiful execution from KC as they get themselves 5 for 0.
And if one falls, they all fall. The chase down potential from KC is disgusting. The movement speed on so many different members. And now you've got 3 items completed onto Caliste. He is huge in these fights.
Vladi even TP's to bot lane to get that tier 2 tower. That goal difference has ballooned into a 9k advantage. And can KC have stamped their authority here in Game 4? The slow, steady, controlled game. I mean, this is KC's game to lose.
And what, now MKOI have to fight for 3rd dragon? Like, you don't want to go near these guys right now, but it's not exactly like it gets better, right? We said whoever kind of gets off to this lead, whoever can lock the artillery in place faster is going to be in the best spot, and KC have done just that. 3 dragons now to their name, pressure on the map, and MKOI again kind of moving as this unit, trying to find some way to keep KC at the base.
It's incredible. We load into a new game. No idea what to expect. KC have refined themselves in this game. It was death's door. It's the Grim Reaper meme and KOI are knocking, but you open it, there's another Grim Reaper. I don't know how that works. Apparently, it just prolongs the death and we wait and see how it handles out. Canna's gonna ulti, try and send us to the final charade of our top 3 in the league. The face-off against G2. KC are done. They do not say goodnight this time. They do not give up. An ulti away, Myrwn is panicking because Yike has his number. The dust, it's so full. And everyone jumping in on the Jojo can't not because Canna doesn't die. KC with more merits.
Myrwn ults to make himself unstoppable to stop the sleep. But that does not stop KC from being unstoppable as well. They will chase down Jojo under his own towers and continue to push forward.
KC just know how much stronger they are than their opposition, and they just don't waste any time. They look for an engage on mid lane. They call for Yike to come in from the flank. The Hex flash from over the wall. Alvaro thinks that he can find an angle, but there's very little that he can do. Instead, he just gets chipped away until he eventually loses his life.
Yeah, the redemption to try and help out, but here you can see it. Myrwn goes drowsy, uses the ultimate because it makes her unstoppable to prevent the sleep from going through, which means he does escape. But it means that Jojo's left underneath the tower on his lonesome. And KC with the flash forward from Canna will secure the kill. And now Baron is in their eyes.
10,000 gold. It's KC's Baron for the taking. Elyoya and Alvaro shouldn't even be close because the zone control will batter them dead. It's only a soul to go at 3 minutes 15 if we're still playing this game then. A turret trying to be taken by this Ambessa. I mean, Myrwn wants gold because KOI have none. Back to the drawing board it seems as Targamas won't even be executed here with Baron to all 5.
Bot tower. A small moment of relief for KOI as they get a tiny gold injection. But those teal bars at the bottom of your screen will barely be dented. As I mean, Caliste, look at how wealthy this man is. 5-0-5 scoreline, 3 items completed. He's already got the BF sword working on his 4th. He has a 3.8k gold lead over his opposition.
At 3 levels as well.
Yep.
He is monstrous.
What more do you say than this game has been a monstrous effort from KC, from every lane, from Canna holding on, from Canna having an individual lead, from Yike running the jungle. There is a reason if KC make their way into the finals, I think G2 will be saying, we do not give Yike Lillia, we do not give our ex-jungler such a powerful pick, but more than that, for KC to choke him out. KOI's thinking about that for the final game of Fearless, for the last game of the best of 5. 11,000 is the difference. KOI on their deathbed here, hoping to defend what seems to be an impossible task. Myrwn will jump in, but you see Vladi as a Corki stands and cares not.
Cannon minion doing a lot of the work, likely to finish off this tower. They'll get the extra wave, and there it will go. The first inhibitor has been exposed, but KC, they don't want to slow down. They move their way over towards mid lane, and they'll take another.
The MKOI waves just don't exist. The second they walk into range of Caliste, they disintegrate. And it's just allowing KC to walk wherever the hell they want. They will back off. 2 inhibitors taken.
Targa.
Up still goes.
Solar Flare's great. It's an engage onto Jojopyun. Knocked back with the damage again. Yike hitting another sleep means Alvaro will be next to go. And with the Nexus in their eyes, with an ulti from Myrwn to escape, KC will just take the remnants of what's left on KOI standings. This is
to run.
What a one-sided stomp from KC. 15 kills to 1.